Good day. Hi.
Good morning.
Morning or afternoon, or it depends on, yeah.
I guess it's true where you are
Time
in the world.
time of day is an interesting complication, isn't it? It
Hmm.
is. Andrea is based in the UK, so it's afternoon for him, and others are based in entirely different locations.
Jeez. Yeah. The worst I had was being a project manager for Red Hat. My engineering was in India. My architect was in France.
Right.
My management was in North Carolina, and I live on the West Coast. So yeah, I
So
did a lot of 3 a.m. phone calls.
yeah, you get the worst of all possible worlds in a
Yeah.
situation like that. So,
Yeah.
hey, you're almost half a world away from your colleagues in India, but it's the other half of the world that you're away from the architect. And truthfully, the East Coast and the West Coast are a lot of hours away. I mean, 3 hours is an amazing number.
It is. Yeah, it is. Oh,
So I think that Andrea will join us. I believe he's our key voice today. Let me double check to see the agenda. Yeah, here's the agenda. Because today it was project updates. Ah, yes, Andrea.
morning, Dylan. I know it's morning
Morning.
for you. I know it's morning for you, so I can say that safely.
Yeah, you're accurate in that statement. Although the way I sleep, it's always morning for me. I work when the brain works, and I can never predict when that works.
I've given up on my brain working these days.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I need to go get some coffee. I'll be right back.
Okay.
So just to let you know, Brian and I all are both from Nginx. Uh,
Oh, good.
okay, and we're an end user member, and we got invited to this last minute, so we're in for the first time.
Great to have you here. Thanks. We're thrilled. I'm a delighted user of Nginx, so thanks very much for being here. And the Jenkins project is a delighted user of Nginx. We use it in a lot of places.
I can't imagine that we're still just like the top of the list for serving web pages. So
Yeah, that's well, and in our case, we use reverse proxy in front of our Jenkins controller because
Right.
I'd rather have you process SSL truthfully than process SSL in Java. Not that it can't be done; it's just a lot easier to do it on the front end with a reverse proxy controller. That's somebody who focuses on that and does it all day long, every day.
makes sense. Absolutely.
So, Andrea, we've just been chatting back and forth. You're welcome to run the agenda.
Okay. Yeah, let's wait another minute, see if anyone else join. Then we can start. Oh, it's actually 3 past. Well, let me start sharing the notes. And I'll put a link to the notes in the chat so that everyone has it. And also feel free to sign yourself in. Oh, looks like I put the agenda for today in the template. That's why I can't find it. Bear with me a second. All right, let's get started. So welcome everyone to the TOC meeting. Today is June the 18th. My name is Andrea Frittli. And since we have a new participant, would you like to introduce yourself briefly?
Sure. I think I caught the end of that. I had a bit of audio problems. So let me introduce myself. So hi, I'm Dave McAllister. I am the senior technical technologist, evangelist, community guy for Nginx. I work principally on the open source side. Part of my mandate is what foundations we are members of and how we involve with them. And we've been trying to figure out the best way to understand what's going on with CDF, as well as get more involved with CDF. And with me is one of my colleagues, Dylan. I'll let Dylan introduce himself real quickly.
Yeah, good morning. My name's Dylan Turnbull, based out of Eugene, Oregon, and I am the developer advocate for. I work with on Dave's team with the community, primarily on open source projects. I am formerly worked with Red Hat and then Rancher and many other partnerships that we've worked on with them. And my primary role is to aid the development community in working with Nginx and when possible, making commits to the Nginx code base or any of our open source projects.
Great, thanks. Great to have you here. Welcome, Dave and Dylan. All right. So we have a couple of things on the agenda for today. Project updates for Q2 and TOC elections. There are other things that you would like to discuss, please add them to the agenda, or we have some time at the end probably. But also feel free to stop and ask questions if you have any. Right, so it's the time where we scheduled to receive updates from the project for the second time this year for Q2. So every project has been very diligent in providing their updates, so thanks for that. The only missing one is Jenkins X. So the way it works, now we have in the TOC repo a folder for each project, and each project provided updates there according to a short template. If that's all right, I can go through the updates briefly, and if any of the project representative for the specific project in here would like to maybe quickly introduce the updates, it's also fine. So for city events in Q2, the main feature release was city events released its fourth version, which includes support for links between events. And also we introduced new ticket events as well as custom events there. We had a new adopter, the JReleaser project. It's a project for releasing Java software, and it adopted CD events, so it can now generate CD events. Also, we have a steady stream of contribution on the project, both the specification SDKs. We have new experimental projects as well. And also, thanks to Michelle, the CD events project was onboarded to LFX Insight. It is not publicly accessible yet, but I guess the idea is to start onboarding the project as we go and over time make the data available. In terms of community update, the CD events project is setting up a new working group dedicated to the architecture and development tools required to consume and benefit from CD events. So not only the CD events pack itself, but actually how to start using and what kind of software and tooling we need, messaging platform, and so forth. In terms of security, the project updated Dependabot on several repos to get all the dependencies up to date. that's it for CD events. For Jenkins, would you like Mark perhaps to provide a brief summary of
Sure.
these?
Yeah. So thanks for asking for a status report. This exercise helps me a bunch in thinking about where's Jenkins going and how's it going. 5 Google Summer of Code projects in the Jenkins project, all 5 running well. Happy with that. New features. We just released a Jenkins version today that requires Java 17 as its minimum version. So we're in the process of making the next changes. If you keep scrolling upwards, we'll talk more.
Yeah.
So in terms of the community, we've put on a contributor spotlight thanks to the example of various Apache projects that use something like this. And we're really pleased with how that's helping us highlight contributors. And governance continues. Security updates happen, infrastructure updates happen. And on the fun facts side, this one we have to bring to the picture. We see the Jenkins consumers actively getting off of old Java versions, and we like that because it says they're moving forward with Jenkins. So that this picture is a good picture for us. Yes, we love hundreds of thousands of installations. That's a great number to have. And getting them to move from whatever version they're on to a current version and a current Java virtual machine is a good thing. That's all that I had, Andrea.
Thanks a lot, Mark. Okay, so we don't have for Jenkins X any updates. For Ortelius,
Yeah,
Steve, would you like to?
Yeah. So just like on the roadmap side that we talked about, the Hero project focusing around implementing the CD events. The Ortelius team has actually started on their side gathering requirements, some high-level requirements, and we're going to be starting a formal requirements doc as a starting place. Around the CD events, we did have one of our contributors look at the CNCF NATS project for the message bus. What else? We've added some additional microservices. So Ortelius is now split between Postgres and Arango for its database, and we've started gathering OpenSSF scorecard results. And we've done our first basically machine learning microservice to associate a CVE to a MITRE attack technique. The microservice is out there. We haven't used it yet, but that's one of the things that we've been working towards as part of our roadmap. Some of the bug fixes, most of them have been around CVE resolution and making sure things are up to date. Like pinning to the latest version of Node. One of the weird things that we've actually encountered, we were running into issues with the ChainGuard Docker base images and have moved over to the Amazon Linux. This is mainly around the Python. If you have a Python container, especially on an NLP side, a lot of the libraries that you need don't exist in ChainGuard or aren't maintained quickly enough. Community updates, we have had some new interest in the project. We've had one person start making some coding changes. Other folks have been doing outreach, attending the meetings. And I forgot to put in there, but we did have our micro conference. It was called Secure ChainCon 2024 that happened at the end of May. I'll update the notes with the link to those recordings. That was held on Zoom and Twitch. And then for the fun fact, one of our contributors actually has built a Raspberry Pi cluster and is running Ortelius on that as part of the provided instructions on that. So that's where we're at with Ortelius.
Thanks, Steve.
So is it okay if I ask a question? That's a question.
Sure. Yeah.
So you mentioned Amazon Linux. I hope it's Amazon Linux 2023 and not Amazon Linux 2.
Yes, we use.
Good choice. That's all.
So one of the weird things is if you look at Amazon Linux 2023 that's on Docker Hub, it is actually like frozen in a point of time. So that version actually has CVEs in it. But if you grab Amazon Linux from the Amazon Docker registry, you can get the latest tags that are being currently maintained. It was a little tricky to find, but there is a way to get currently updated. They update it like every week or every 2 weeks with bug fixes on that front.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yep.
Cool.
And just so you know, Amazon Linux is based on Fedora, so it's slightly different than being based on Alpine.
Right. Yeah. So it's great that you're adopting the OpenSSF scorecards. I think this maybe has come up before. Maybe a question for later. If there is anything we can do as TOC to kind of promote this for all the project to adopt OpenSSF scorecard, make sure that everyone has implemented it. I'm not sure. Maybe that's already the case. Maybe that's something I'm sure it's something we have for the requirement for graduation. But maybe we shouldn't wait for graduation to.
Yeah, so on the scorecard, this is where Ortelius, because it's an evidence store, is consuming scorecard results, as well as we do produce scorecard results ourselves. So we're able to consume, we'll go through an SBOM, look at all the package dependencies and see if those have a scorecard out there. So that's... So it's twofold on that front.
Yeah. Okay, no, I had misunderstood, so I got it now. Okay, but cool. All right. Moving to screwdriver. Alan, since you're here, would you like to present?
Yes. So for past quarter, we have a bunch of releases, but most prominent two are pipeline stages and the pipeline template. So pipeline stages allows user to group within the pipeline itself, have more jobs to be grouped. There are start job and finish job after the stage. Pipeline templates is for template owners. They can set up, have a defined list of jobs and ask the user to only override some of them before it's not possible. Yeah. Yeah, and there's some security update we update to most modern ones. That's about it. There are no changes on adoptions.
Cool. Thanks for the update and great to see all the new long list of new features and yeah, those as you mentioned. So thanks, Alan.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, next, shipwright. Sure, Rick is on the call. No. Okay. So for shipwright, there was a new release. And after this release, now the community is focused on completing new features related to supply chain security. They recently added vulnerability scanning, so that's focus on security type of features. Adoption updates. There are some new contributors, many students, but they use and they contribute to, and they also use shipwright. So, and in the last month, there has been an increase of contributors in terms of pull requests on a couple of repositories. So that's great for the shipwright project. Community updates. There is the ongoing community meeting Okay, in terms of governance, she introduced they're updating owner files to reflect recent changes. So they're promoting new contributors to the roles of approvers and reviewers based on recent contributions. So that's good. Keep the community evolving there. And they've been relying on Dependabot for security updates. Good. That's good to see the Shipwright community growing, as I know that they've been working hard on that. So it's good to see it happening. So on Spinnaker's side, I don't know if anyone here wants to present Spinnaker, probably not. So also Spinnaker had a new release, which improves support for Kubernetes and ECS, adding a bug for Docker accounts. And there is the long-running ongoing effort of Spinnaker modernization, which is going on. In terms of contribution, there has been a decrease in the number of contributors. However, there is still a solid base of active participants and steady involvement. Community continues to run the TOC meeting every 2 weeks, in addition to special interest group meetings. And in terms of infrastructure, there is progress in terms of moving to a monorepo for the project. And finally, in terms of Tecton, it's not refreshed yet, but it's here. So there have been many new releases, but especially one long-term support release of Tecton Pipeline. So it is 59. New features include refinements to the new reusable unit in Tecton, which is called Step Action, as well as an ongoing implementation of artifact features, which allows Steps authors to produce input and output provenance. So, and that's integrating also with the chains component in Tecton that to produce better provenance for things built with Tecton. In terms of adoption, a Dutch company called Cadaster adopted Tecton, and they use it as their primary CI/CD solution. Contribution trends in Q2 comparable to those of Q1. We have decreasing contribution compared to 2023, but steady in 2024. In terms of community update, as you're probably aware, the Tecton community formally applied to join the CNCF, and the proposal is pending review from the CNCF TOC. In terms of governance, the community welcomes Chitran Patel from Google as a new member of the governing board. All right, that's all of the project updates. So if there are no questions on that, I wanted to bring up the fact that some of the seats, the TOC seats, so the end user elected seats, expired in May. Yeah, so thanks, Neil, for reminding me of that, bringing that up. And then we have 3 seats, the governing board elected seats that will expire beginning of July as well. So we need to run 2 elections, and Michelle is already active and preparing those. I believe she recently sent a message to the governing board Slack channel about those. And let me maybe bring up the TOC page. So we have all these seats that until June 2025, but the end user ones, they expired actually on May the 1st, and then we have the 3 governing board ones that will expire on July the 1st. Just as a comment, I checked the charter. There's no special policy in the charter about running again for the same seat. So everyone who is on the TOC now is very welcome to run again as a candidate for the seats if they would like to.
I surely would.
It's great to hear. All right, the last thing that I added in the agenda, I already mentioned actually as part of the CD events project update. So we're starting a new working group for CD events, which focuses on more the software around CD events and making CD events real, which links to also the discussion with the Hero project. And so the first occurrence of the meeting will be on the 25th of June. It will be on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. UTC.
Yeah, I was trying to get the link, but I couldn't. Google wasn't cooperating.
Right. Okay.
And
So,
and that time slot is taking the SIG events time slot is going to be used for this one.
right. I changed the frequency though, as the SIG events was every 4 weeks, and they changed it to bi-weekly.
Yeah, perfect.
See if there is a way you can share the calendar.
Yeah, like I said, Google Calendar is not cooperating very easily.
Yeah, it's on the CDF public calendar. But, let me see. Let me publish. All right, so that's the calendar link there. Okay. All right. Anything else from anyone?
No, but I'll just give a quick update on where the work on the Hero project.
Please.
We have reached out to the folks at Red Hat, the folks at Norwest, and DDC has been working with Harness. So we are working to build, somewhat of a, I guess you'd call a coalition to begin working on this project together. And so far, the folks have been pretty interested in what we have, what we've brought to them. So, Andrea, I'm hoping to bring some new contributors to the CD events for you to get this part completed. We still haven't had our meeting with Sasha, but if we don't think it's necessary, we'll just drive forward. DDC is out on vacation until the 24th of June, so nothing on that front will be done until after he gets back.
Yeah, and I think driving forward is a good choice, Tracy. That's a very good choice.
Okay. Then we will do that and not worry about pulling together a meeting with Sasha and DDC. And Dylan and Dave, thank you so much for being here. We're super happy to have you. If you would like to learn more about what we're doing at the Hero Project, since we just kind of skipped over it in a nutshell, what we want to do is bring CD events to full life so that we can begin disrupting the CI/CD pipelines with security tooling without having to manually update thousands of workflow files. So in the beginning, we just want to be able to do something as simple as on a published step, generate an SBOM and have Ortelius, which is an evidence store, consume the data and start tracking the vulnerabilities beyond the static code analysis.
Excellent.
So that would be our POC if we had one completed. We can do
Fair
the
enough.
tracking, but we already can do it. The Ortelius is already consuming SBOMs and doing the tracking, so the right hand of the equation's already done. The problem has been getting the SBOMs generated. And there's plenty of ways to generate an SBOM, right? It's just adding them to the process.
That and traditionally anything involving security. I'm a veteran Symantec employee, so I understand security more better than the average bear. So it's net disruptive is a polite way to put it. So security is very invasive. So
And we're trying to make it not
but
so.
highly,
Yeah.
highly important. I don't want to undermine that. So
Yeah, we would love to be able to, for the DevOps engineers, just turn on events. And when they turn on events, that the security pieces automatically execute for them if they have them installed.
Yeah, exactly. So the idea is to have this kind of out of band. So we don't, as you said, first you need to alter the pipeline, so to keep it as a kind of separate concern. But we need to, I mean, we have the interoperability specification in CDF, but you know, we need to have the right architecture and tool in place to make it easy for it to happen. So. Cool. So yeah, thanks for the update on that, Tracy. So hopefully we can then get people from Red Hat, NetWest, and Harness interested in joining the working group, so we can have a discussion there. We can have more contributions. Yeah, I'd be curious, but maybe we can take that offline to know who you're talking to on Red Hat side.
Yeah, people we know, Adam Kepler, Anne-Marie Fred, who's on our TOC, and who was the other person? I'll tell you.
Bob.
I know, what's his last name?
I'd have to go look.
I know them from the OpenSSF. Let me get it really quick here. It's just yesterday. It's going to take me a second. It is. I don't know. I'll send you. I'll send you an email.
Thanks, Tracy. All right. Anything else for today from anyone?
I was just going to mention, I know, Mark, you're a big supporter of anything we can do to promote open source in fintech. So myself and Nick Penston are going over to the Open Source and Finance Forum tomorrow week to talk about Fidelity's journey. So it'll be similar to what I did in the CDF, but slightly different, maybe expanded story. And Nick had a few slides in there, so it'll be a little bit different, but the same idea, just to promote the journey and talk about what we've been doing. So hopefully, you know, another good opportunity to put it out there and talk about it and talk about the challenges and how we overcame them. So hopefully I can give you guys an update anyway on one of these meetings when it's still on and let you know how it went.
Bob McWhirter, sorry, my brain, it just woke up.
So, and Neil, if you'd be willing to share a link to that into these notes, that way those of us who want to attend could register for it.
Yeah, sure. I actually don't have access to the docs at the moment. Every year I have to put in a URL and block for Google Docs again, and it happened to be just last week. So I'm in the process of getting back to access to the agenda, but I will add it in there and the page with the link to that session. And you'll find it anyway in the overall agenda. If you look at the OSFF London agenda in Google, it's the first link that comes up. You'll be able to see Nick Penson and myself. It's only a one-day event on the Wednesday. I think we're on in the afternoon.
Okay,
so
and this is a face-to-face event. This is not an event that I could watch from my desktop here in Colorado.
I'm not sure if it's streaming or if it's available videos. But it is a Linux Foundation
you're at a
event.
conference doing it. Thanks. I had missed that. I had assumed it was an online event. Thank you.
I'd be happy if it was online. We have to go over there next week, and it's yeah, it'll be interesting. We're to lastminute.com with the decks and everything else, but I think we know the story off by heart at this stage anyway. So it'll be nice to kind of interact with people there, and maybe some old faces, maybe some new faces, and just talk about the story more. As you said, it's probably becoming a newer thing for fintechs to be looking at building out their platforms with open source. A lot of them have been a closed shop for a long time. So I think, you know, and based on kind of your comments as well, I realized that Fidelity are probably, you know, in the right place here. We're kind of ahead of the pack in the sense that we're, you know, on an accelerated path to do this right now, which is exciting.
I can confirm you are on an accelerated path. Fintech adoption of open source, particularly advocacy of open source, is not a, oh, everybody's doing it and they're all doing it really well. That's not, definitely not the story to tell.
Awesome.
Great. Good luck with the presentation then.
Thanks.
All right. Well, good to see everyone. And then see you everyone in a couple of weeks, if not earlier. A great rest
Excellent.
of the day.
Thanks, Andrea.
Thanks for having us. Take care.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.